Righty, let's go to Canberra. This is the announcement with the Prime Minister and David Crisafulli, the Queensland Premier. Is it relate to education, Queensland being the outlier with a funding deal?
For the young Australians to come, this is a historic day. Today we reach the point for the first time in Australian history where every student, public and private, will be delivered the school funding that they deserve. The school resourcing standard that was identified by David Crisafulli more than a decade ago. By Queensland agreeing to sign up with the agreement put in today, will change lives because public education changes lives. Public education is what is accessible and available to all Australians. And from today, we can announce that every little Queenslander will have a better chance to reach their potential. Nothing is more important in the role of the Commonwealth and state and territory governments than delivering opportunity for young Australians. And it is education that opens the doors of opportunity, and today we are widening them. This historic agreement means that every Australian child who goes to a public school will now receive a fully funded education. The private school students had reached the SRS standard previously, but what the agreements between the Commonwealth and our 8 state and territory governments have delivered is that every student, regardless of which school they go to, will receive this funding. This agreement with Queensland will deliver an estimated $2.8 billion in additional funding for Queensland public schools over the next decade. This represents the biggest ever investment in Queensland public schools by an Australian government ever. In Queensland, we expect this to support some 560,000 public school students. It isn't a blank cheque. This money is tied to real reforms like evidence-based teaching practices, phonics and numeracy checks, catch-up tutoring and more mental health support. Today's announcement contributes to an estimated $16.5 billion in additional Commonwealth funding to public schools across the nation from 2025-2026 for the decade ahead to 2034. It represents the biggest new investment in public schools by an Australian government ever. And I do want to thank Premier Crisafulli for the constructive engagement that we have had to deliver this agreement. Constructive engagement that's now reflected with agreements between every government right across this country, every state, every territory, combining with the Commonwealth. On election night in 2022, I spoke about education as being the key to widening those doors of opportunity. What my government is doing in early childhood education, now in school education, with our higher ed agreements and with free TAFE, is delivering across the board so that every child will have the opportunity to fulfil their potential. That's what aspiration is about. That's what people want for their young sons and daughters. And indeed, the beneficiaries of this agreement today include, obviously, people who haven't been born yet. This is intergenerational reform that will make an incredible difference. And I do want to thank the Premier. We've engaged constructively in this over a period of months, and today we've reached what is a historic agreement. Premier.
Thanks, PM. It is a historic agreement, and today I can confirm that Queensland has secured the biggest investment in schools in our nation's history, and we are delighted to be standing here with you, Prime Minister. Thank you very much for the way that you've negotiated with us. This means a lot to Queensland, and it means a lot because we've got some challenges in our schooling systems that other states don't have. We are the most decentralised state. We've got a large portion of rural and regional and Indigenous schools. We have challenges because of that, not just geographically, but challenges that are historically been baked in. As a result, our NAPLAN results aren't what we have wanted to see in recent years, What this does is give us a decade-long commitment to be able to turn the funding shortfall around, and with that will come the ability to turn those results around. And what excites me about this deal is it's not just about a financial injection, it's also about making sure that we meet standards. It's also about making sure that we give every child the opportunity to be their best, and we want that. And we want them to be their best, whether they're in the capital or in the smallest of rural or remote schools. It's important that that money does flow. This is a 10-year deal that will see an immediate investment, but also will deliver long-term generational reform. That's important for Queensland, for what we want to achieve. We want to make sure that we have well-educated children who become great performing members of our state, and we've got a lot ahead as a state. And making sure that we could sign this education deal means a lot to us, and we are delighted with the agreement that's been struck, and we are determined to make sure that the education standards for Queensland kids continue on an upward trajectory, and with that comes the best for our state.